Hey everybody, this is James with wstrades.com. Want to provide you an update here on MVIS or Microvision. Found an article on seekingalpha.com and it says, is Microvision stock a good buy or is it a sell? What to consider. Advancements in autonomous driving technology paired with tightening regulations over vehicle safety have underpinned global demand for automotive LiDAR sensors in recent years. Microvision, a veteran in the development of laser beam scanning technology used in LiDAR sensors, is one of several companies vying for a share of the growing automotive LiDAR market. Microvision has recently developed a long-range automotive LiDAR that has an unmatchable range capability of up to 250 meters, with high resolution and an ability to detect other LiDARs in range. In addition to best-in-class performance, the compact nature of Microvision's long-range LiDAR and competitive pricing enabled by scalability makes the product well-positioned for growth opportunities ahead. But significant burdens from its cost structure and aggressive pricing strategy, combined with the recent announcement of an at-the-market equity facility, are expected to place additional pressure on the stock's performance. As a result, we believe Microvision stock is currently reflective of the underlying business intrinsic value and are assigning a neutral rating on the stock. Advancements in autonomous driving technology paired with tightening regulations over vehicle safety have underpinned global demand for automotive LiDAR sensors in recent years. Certain advanced driver assistance system or ADAS features such as advanced emergency braking have made mandatory by major government regulatory bodies to ensure vehicle safety, and LiDAR sensors are critical components for enabling these mandatory safety features, creating high growth opportunities ahead for market players. Microvision, or MVIS, is one of several companies vying for a share of the growing LiDAR market. Founded in 1993, Microvision is a veteran in the development of laser beam scanning, or LBS technology. The company's first-generation long-range LiDAR, or LRL, built for autonomous driving applications, uses LBS technology as the foundation and is currently entering production phase. In addition to automotive LiDAR sensors, Microvision also manufactures and sells microdisplay technology for augmented reality, or AR headsets, interactive display modules for smart speakers, as well as consumer LiDAR sensors used for smart home systems. But the development and production of automotive LiDAR sensors remain Microvision's priority, as it looks to capitalize on growing opportunities with the autonomous driving sector. Microvision may be slated for a takeoff with the successful development and upcoming commercialization of its first-generation automotive LRL sensors. Yet, the journey has not come easy. Being in the business for more than 2 decades, Microvision has incurred substantial losses since inception due to insufficient demand for its legacy products. To ensure its first-generation LRL sensors materialize into commercial success and create value for the company, Microvision has recently expressed an interest in selling the company to drive consolidation synergies. Following release of the news, the stock price surged from the sub-$5 level to more than $23 a piece earlier this year, and subsequently peaked at more than $26 in April. While Microvision's successful development of its best-in-class automotive LiDAR sensors may turn the company around for the better, we believe the stock's current price levels are reflective of its intrinsic value. Until additional synergies are achieved with strategic initiatives, such as a merger or strategic partnership of the company with an automotive OEM or Tier 1 manufacturer, our outlook on the stock remains neutral. Microvision has pivoted its focus to the development of automotive LiDAR sensors in recent years. Building on its existing proprietary LBS technology, Microvision has developed one of the highest performing automotive LiDAR sensors in the industry. The first generation LRL boasts a range of up to 250 meters, with high resolution and an ability to collect up to 10.8 million points per second. from a single point at 30 Hz. In addition to impressive performance specifications, another competitive advantage of Microvision's LRL is its compact nature. The end product will be capable of combining the solid-state LiDAR sensor and a camera module into a single system. Contingent on regulatory approval, the design advantage could ultimately reduce the total number of sensors required per vehicle to enable advanced safety features in autonomous driving. This differs significantly from the bulky units strapped on top of test-driving autonomous vehicles we see today, which are typically accompanied by multiple moving parts. The compact nature of Microvision sensor technology is expected to attract demand from OEMs looking for appropriately sized units that will not interfere with sleek passenger vehicle designs when integrated for mass production. The pricing of Microvision's first-generation LRL sensors will be another competitive advantage for the LiDAR technology veteran. The company's first-generation LRL sensors have been strategically designed to ensure scalability and enable cost efficiencies that can be passed on to customers through competitive pricing. The units will be sold at a price under $1,000 per unit to encourage accelerated adoption, which management considers a key for commercial success. The automotive LiDAR market is slated to become one of the hottest markets within the decade, with anticipated growth at an accelerated compounded annual growth rate, or a CAGR, of more than 30% through 2030. Much of this growth will be driven by increasing demands from regulatory bodies for ADAS adoption to ensure greater vehicle safety. And the unique competitive advantages of Microvision's LRL sensors make it well positioned to capitalize on the growth opportunities ahead. The company has recently completed the development of a standalone sample of the LRL sensors and a sample in April. This is a well-timed milestone for Microvision, as potential customers, primarily automotive OEMs and Tier 1 manufacturers, can now purchase an A sample for integration into their respective technologies for testing and prototyping purposes. Small quantities of the LRL sensors will be made available for sale in the second half of the year. In the meantime, Microvision will continue to perform track testing and other validation efforts on the LRL sensors in accordance with the ADAS safety rating requirements set by the NHTSA and Euro NCAP in preparation for mass production and commercialization. Based on these developments, our base case forecast projects product revenues of $100,000 by the end of the year. Specifically, related revenues will be primarily generated from the limited quantities of first-generation LRL sensors that management intends to produce and sell in the second half of the year. And with validation testing approval expected for completion in mid-2022, Microvision is expected to attract greater interest to its LRL sensors and boost initial sales to $400,000 by the end of the year. 2023 is estimated to be Microvision's first full year of production ramp-up. Our base case forecast projects product revenues of $13.5 million in 2023, based on management's guide on annual production capacity of 12,000 to 15,000 units at its main Asia production line. The revenue stream is expected to further grow at a CAGR of 26.1% towards $68.4 million by the end of the decade, which is consistent with broader growth trends within the global automotive LiDAR market. In addition to product revenues from the anticipated sale of LRL automotive sensors, Microvision will also continue to recognize license and royalty revenues on an existing contractual agreement with Microsoft. In 2017, Microvision entered into a strategic partnership with Microsoft to be their component supplier for a high-definition display system. The arrangement was amended in 2020, with Microvision transferring the technology's production rights to Microsoft due to cost efficiency considerations. In exchange, Microsoft would pay royalty fees to Microvision for each unit of the component produced. The royalty fee will be set equivalent to the gross profit that Microvision would have earned had they continued to produce the components for Microsoft. License and royalty revenues related to the contractual arrangement will be deducted from a prepayment that was made by Microsoft upon commencement of the agreement. As of June 30th, the balance of prepayment was at $6.5 million. Based on the current run rate of license and royalty revenues earned from the contractual arrangement with Microsoft, the prepayment is expected to zero out in 2024. But due to the critical nature of the technology for Microsoft, related license and royalty revenues are expected to persist into the long run. As a result, our base case financial forecast for Microvision includes license and royalty revenues totaling $20.4 million, realizable from 2021 through to 2030. Based on the foregoing analysis on global automotive LiDAR market trends as well as segment sales projections, Microvision is expected to generate total revenues of $2.4 million by the end of the year. The top line is expected to further advance at a CAGR of 40.1% towards $70.5 million by 2030. Much of the top-line growth is expected to be led by automotive LiDAR sales in the foreseeable future. In terms of Microvision's cost structure, total cost of sales will be fully attributable to the sale of LRL sensors. Specifically, the gross margin on LRL sensors will remain negative in 2021 as only limited volumes of the product will be produced in the second half of the year. As production starts to ramp up in mid-2022 following the completion of validity testing, the gross margin on LRL sensor sales is expected to turn positive at 3%, which is consistent with industry peers such as VLDR and LAZR, which are currently early-stage productions. And as production and sales levels continue to advance towards scale, LRL sensor gross margins are expected to reach as high as 50% in the long run based on management's guidance. Consolidated gross margins will remain positive at 95% for 2021, as the majority of the year's total revenues will be attributable to Microvision's contractual arrangement with Microsoft, which is generated on a cost-free basis. And as LRL sensor production levels continue to ramp up and achieve scale, consolidated gross margins will stabilize at approximately 51% starting in 2026. Meanwhile, operating expenses, which primarily consist of R&D and SG&A spending, are expected to exceed total revenues through 2027 to support the commercialization and production ramp-up on the LRL sensors. For R&D expenses, R&D is at the core of Microvision's strengths in the field of LBS and automotive LiDAR technology. Related spending includes compensation for sales team headcount, costs of marketing campaigns, as well as fees for professional services such as accounting and legal. Sales, marketing, general, and administrative expenses are expected to remain elevated through to 2025 as Microvision continues to build out its global footprint to support greater capitalization of high-growth opportunities within the global automotive LiDAR sector. These efforts include the addition of a business development team and office in Germany later this year. This comes as a strategic decision given the region is currently the most active advocate for ADAS technology and houses the best and largest European OEMs and Tier 1 manufacturers. Microvision is also expected to add additional business development teams across North America and the Asia-Pacific region in the long run to further capitalize on growing opportunities ahead. The company is forecasted to incur narrowing losses from $49.5 million by the end of the year towards $8.8 million by 2028, based on its sales growth trajectory and projected cost structure. Profit realization is expected to begin in 2029 at $1.5 million, with growth towards $8.1 million by 2030. Drawing on the above analysis on Microvision's growth trajectory and financial outlook, our 12-month price target on the stock is $13.36. This represents nominal upside potential of approximately 4% based on the stock's last traded share price of $12.83. Considering the stock's limited upside potential, as well as Microvision's recent announcement of an at-the-market equity offering that could potentially lead to further share price dilutions, we are assigning a neutral rating on the stock. The 12-month price target is derived using multiple-based valuation approach. We have applied a price-to-sales ratio of 905.1 to projected total revenues per share for 2021 to determine our 1336 price target. The multiple used compares the price-to-sales ratio of 113.9 times to 905.1 times observed across other early-staged automotive LiDAR sensor manufacturers and is consistent with market expectations on Microvision's valuation based on its current operating environment, technological achievements, and long-term growth trajectory. Rising adoption of ADAS and autonomous driving technology will create an unprecedented opportunity for Microvision. The well-timed development of best-in-class LRL automotive sensors combined with global automotive LiDAR market tailwinds may just be what the company needs to turn its long-standing streak of failed product launches in the past around. However, from a valuation standpoint, we believe the stock's price performance is currently reflective of Microvision's estimated intrinsic value based on its business outlook. As a result, we are assigning a neutral rating on the stock. So let's take a look here at the price action on Microvision. And lately, it's pretty much been in consolidation mode. It's been trading within a pretty tight range of around $12 up to around $17. So it's been kind of chopping around within that range all the way back to early July. You see back here on like July 7th, it was around that $15.50 to $16 mark. It hasn't really been above there since. And then it kind of sold off down to this $12 level, and it recently just rejected. Zooming in here on the daily chart, you see a big wick sticking out here. The sellers tried to crush this thing below 12. They actually got that price to close below it. But the next day, the buyers stepped right back in. You see the big wick sticking out, a couple green candles, and now it's selling back off towards that $12 level again. So I think that $12 level is really key. You can even see way back or in early August, it's around that $12 level again. So if I continue to zoom out here, there was another touch here way back in May during that nasty market sell-off. They went down and tested that $12 level. So definitely a key price level right now for the stock. If it does not hold this $12 level and the bears continue to drive this thing lower, we could see prices down here around $10, because you can see back in April, before they had this massive explosion here to $28, that is a level they went down and tested. So I'll continue to keep you guys updated on MVIS or Microvision. Please like this video. Please also subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. Hit that notification bell. Appreciate you guys for taking the time to watch this. Talk to you soon.